Next to join us is Shirin Taber. Shirin is the Executive Director of Empower Women Media. Shirin leads an annual media fellowship, Women's Film Festival, and online human rights certificate course. Additionally, she's an author and has earned 2 master's degrees with a focus on women's rights and religious freedom. We really appreciate you being here with us today, Shirin. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Natalie, and all these amazing speakers today. I'm so touched to be here, and it's so great to hear your perspectives. And I'm encouraged that there's so many young people here. I'm probably one of the oldest, and so it's fascinating to hear your perspective and your vision for the future. So I'm Shirin Taber. I have a mixed heritage with an Iranian Muslim father and American Christian mother. And I love my whole family history. I've learned from both sides. And what inspires me to keep going in this movement is that I really believe that change is coming. I've seen it. I've been watching it for the last 40 years. Even though I was born in the US, I did live in Iran for a few years as a child. And I lived there before the revolution. And I remember, the freedoms that we had to move about society and the birthday parties and the get-togethers and going to the park and music and art and so many great things that impacted me. I mean, some of those things are even here on my bookshelf, just memories of living in Iran and really holding on to that vision. And I think it's possible in our lifetime. What I do essentially is to encourage the democratic movement through media and education strategies. And we're seeing a shift in the culture. Just recently with the recent protests, we're seeing people becoming more and more creative. And the research actually shows that we can do a lot through media and through the arts. We've seen that through just the demonstrations of dance and music and film, even creative gestures where they would put dye in a water in a fountain and it would represent the movement. Color. These things are so important to keep the movement going, and we cannot underestimate the impact of media and the arts, social media, the murals that Emily is a part of. These actually do have a lasting impact, and there's data and science to actually back that up. So I want to encourage you that there's a positive shift going, and however long it happens, it's like the drip, drip, drip of a faucet. We will see change. What we do is we focus on education and training. And so what we believe based on the data is that Iran, there's still a lot of work to do to educate the public about the benefits of freedom. And one of the things I wanted to clarify today is the public, by and large, is not interested in liberal Western values. We need to remember that. Iranians still tend to be fairly conservative. They are honor shame-based society. They feel very strongly about protecting their daughters, not so much that they can't have an education and contribute to society, but they believe that daughters are the heart of the family, right? And so as parents, they feel they need to protect their daughters to protect their families. It's more of a survival mentality. And so I think it's important to continue to study the public and what concerns them, what fears they have that have not led to the tipping point. We have not seen the tipping point yet where Iran has demanded change. We have seen protests, but we're not seeing it in all of civil society, in all of the sectors across the entire country. And so our research is showing is we have more work to do. So keep doing what you're doing. What we offer is we have media fellowship trainings where we're training Iranian and Farsi-speaking women in the region to be journalists, to be media-based activists. We have a Women Life Freedom Film Festival that we give cash prizes to these women to keep sharing their stories. We have an online course called Live What You Believe that explains to Iranians in Farsi the benefits of democracy, human rights, and religious freedom. And religious freedom is kind of a scary concept for Iranians. They're like, well, we're, Muslim majority. What we're trying to teach them is actually a multi-faith society where everyone is welcome, Jews, Christians, Baha'i, others, atheists, that society is actually richer and has more peace and more prosperity. Whereas the countries that have a one state religion typically have more conflict and more corruption. So there's a lot of work to do to help Iranians understand that actually a democracy and multi-faith society is where they will see the greatest peace and prosperity for themselves and for even their children long term. I wanted to also encourage you that since October 7th, we have a new initiative called the Abraham Women's Alliance. And we're bringing together women from Jewish, Muslim, and Christian heritage to meet on a monthly basis to talk about the Israel-Hamas war. What are practical solutions to encourage the public to stay engaged and to not move towards anti-Semitism? And then finally, I want to invite you that we're going to Dubai in the fall, and we're hosting a women's executive leadership event to support the Abraham Accords. And why is Abraham Accords important for Iranians? Essentially, the Accords were set up to bring Jews and Arabs together. And as Iranians, we want to help convene this event because we believe that as Jews and Arabs find peace and learn to live together, it's good for the whole region. It's good for women, it's good for youth, it's good for minorities, and we believe it will be good for Iran long term. We're hoping as the Arabs and Jews find peace that we can bring Iranians to the table too. So I want to encourage you in the audience to really support the Abraham Accords because we believe it's the main thing right now that can help drive change. We don't know of any other platform. So I'll end there. I could talk forever, as you can see. I'm passionate about this subject. I'm passionate about finding practical solutions and really thinking about the public, how we can serve them to move them towards democracy.